Madam Speaker, ladies and gentlemen, to be quite blunt, the case or extension that they tried to posit makes no fucking sense. They try to have an intuition pump of morality and taking some sort of principled high ground, but at the same time concede to doing something naughty that they agreed to be in your norm of subjectivity that will be able to get you out of your situation. So, they have a shared premise to their opening about the end justifying the means, but fail to give any structural reason or demonstration as to why that principle is so important in the attempt to respond in the short diagonal to opening opposition, who quite well already proved to you why it's important to be moral. What are you going to get coming from our case? A couple of clarifications in the way in. Number one, OG has a very oversimplistic understanding of how quotas and syndicates work and suffer from a share of or a failure to respond to what you get from opening opposition. That's the same comment I have for member thus far. So hopefully GovWhip is able to respond to that and respond to what I'm saying too. Number two, OG is motivated by the right thing, but their lens and strategy of the end justifying the means to be able to get out might put you at a certain degree of risk while you're in there for the reasons OO told you. But what we're going to tell you coming from closing opposition, stifle your ability and capacity to be a functional and better person, because on both sides of the debate, we're having this debate because we want to be able to get out. What is the path to victory coming from closing opposition? Three things we're going to tell you. Number one, we're going to explore the opportunity cost of Santa's naughty list and how naughty and nice exist in a spectrum. So does Santa's generosity, meaning kids who are nicest of the nice get better stuff, and children who are naughty of the naughty get more coal or worse bad things, maybe even some sort of disincentive structure to get cool stuff. Number two, there are upsides of being nice, such as people being able to want to work with you more and be able to treat you better. And number three, there are practical use cases of the other things on our side, which we can posit to you are fucking better than a bag of coal. Number one, let's take a look at the opportunity cost of such. A, being naughty ruins your record and chance to be able to ask for more stuff. You need to understand that you might be a relatively nice child right now, and we think that the point in which you do become naughty is the point in which it harms your score with Santa. Think of it like in school, you have like a perfect attendance or a chance to get a loyalty award, and you stifle that record because you want to get the shortcut, which is the solvency that government bench wants to posit. Why is that not worth it? Because naughty and nice take into account the fucking realities that you have. That is to say, yes, Santa's not a god, but he's also a fair individual. Meaning, if someone does something naughty because of A, B, C, D circumstances, then that actually wrecks the moral compass that people have, because we on closing opposition believe that the end does not justify the means, and we think it's very important that you take into account these particular realities. The point in which you cheat in the attempt to be able to get out not only provides more risk, but also harms your capacity as an individual to be functional at the point in which you want to be able to leave. Why? Because we assume that you're going to be able to get out on both sides. On opposition side, it might take a bit longer. But how many more Christmases do you have to be able to enjoy your childhood, enjoy your early adolescence? A lot, right? So, we rather have you suffer this Christmas now in the short term to be able to get out and then be able to still be in Santa's favor in the nice list in your succeeding Christmases afterward. Government bench makes that unstrategic trade-off because they think it's so important to get out. The second thing I'm going to talk about is the upside of being nice. This is something opening failed to do. If you are nice and kind, it makes people want to work with you more. Meaning the other children who are slaves with you, being nice to them and not being an asshole when you steal their cookies and milk or steal their antibiotics, what Andre said, they're going to be able to want to help you more. This is the community and strength of the collective that you need to be able to work even harder so you can all hit your fixed quotas. Whether that be in a group quota or an individual quota, you need to be able to be mentally charged to be able to work harder. The analysis here is that if you show them some sort of dissent, they're not gonna be able to be nice to you. In fact, they might even be naughty to you as a form of revenge because kids in their formative years are quite susceptible to those particular things. And we think it makes this naughty, petty infighting, which is ultimately unproductive. And like what opening mentioned, to some extent can trigger them to treat you more unfairly, meaning not give you the antibiotics and all those things that you need because you are not being productive. What is the important tipping point in this debate? The important tipping point, which opening teams failed to understand, is how it's like to be a formative child and an individual. The point in which you let Gov get away with their frame and their case is the point in which you put very children who are most malleable and susceptible to beliefs a chance to be able to wreck and corrupt their own particular capacities, to be able to understand what good and bad is. Do we have to be rigid about it? Absolutely yes. Because as a child, you're still understanding the realities of the world, and you need to be able to build a solid morality and character in order to help you get out of shitty situations. Yes, it's not your fault. You're a victim of circumstance. You're a victim of birth lottery. But these are the very people who need to have hope in themselves that they can transcend the situation if they actually do what is right as opposed to taking the shortcut. The harm you get from side government is if the child gets out earlier, he might think, nagawa ko yun. I can cheat even more or find other loopholes later on to help me because kaya ko naman eh. And this creates this very toxic and dangerous mentality that can harm them in the long run. What do you get from CO? A very clear delineation and path to be able to explain the tipping points in this debate and how ultimately we're just better and more strategic. For all these reasons, very proud to oppose.